If you build with AI, your future compute, your energy, and your raw materials are being decided right now, not by market forces, not by tech companies, by the United States government. And they are not writing grants anymore. They are buying equity, direct ownership stakes in the companies that will build America's technology infrastructure for the next decade. I used AI to analyze every deal, and the portfolio totals over $47 billion across 66 companies. This is where your stack is being built. Here is why this shift matters. When the government issues a grant, there are no strings. The company takes the money and builds what they want, where they want. But when the government takes equity, they have skin in the game. They own a piece of the company. They negotiate warrants, board observers, offtake agreements, and price floors. This is not charity. This is alignment of incentives. And it means the government is actively steering where critical infrastructure gets built. Your AI model will run on chips from specific fabs, powered by specific energy sources, using materials from specific mines. The government is choosing which ones. Let me show you the full portfolio. After running AI analysis across the complete dataset, the numbers are staggering. Over $47 billion in committed capital, spanning 66 active deals. The dominant investors are the Department of Defense, the Department of Commerce, the Department of Energy, and the Development Finance Corporation. The deal structures include equity stakes, convertible loans, decade-long warrants, offtake agreements, and golden shares with presidential veto power. This is venture capital at national scale. Start with what goes into your hardware. The largest cluster of deals sits in critical minerals. Every AI chip, every electric motor, every wind turbine depends on rare earth elements. And MP Materials is the only scaled rare earth mining and processing operation in the Western Hemisphere. The Department of Defense invested $550 million. That includes a $400 million equity stake for up to 19.9% ownership, a $150 million loan, and a 10-year warrant for over 11 million shares at $30.03 per share. But here is what makes this deal look like private equity, not government spending. The DoD secured a 10-year offtake agreement to purchase 100% of MP's rare earth magnets. They also locked in a price floor of $110 per kilogram for neodymium and praseodymium. And if the market price exceeds that floor, the DoD receives 30% of the upside, downside protection, and profit sharing. This is how Blackstone structures deals, not how the Pentagon used to write checks. Now look at semiconductors, the chips your AI models run on. The marquee deal is Intel. The Department of Commerce restructured its entire relationship. An existing $2.2 billion CHIPS grant was converted into permanent equity, eliminating all clawback and profit-sharing provisions. On top of that, Commerce invested $8.9 billion for a 9.9% equity stake, plus a 5-year warrant at $20 per share for an additional 5%. Total package, $11.1 billion. The government agreed to vote with Intel's board and holds no governance rights. They are a passive shareholder, but they are ensuring these fabs get built on American soil. Then there is quantum computing, the technology that could make current encryption obsolete and accelerate drug discovery by orders of magnitude. In a single announcement, the Department of Commerce deployed over $2 billion across 9 quantum technology companies. The largest deal is IBM's Anderon, which will be America's first pure-play 300mm quantum wafer foundry, backed by a $1 billion government equity stake. IBM is also contributing $1 billion in cash. The quantum pure plays reveal how specific the government is getting with milestone-based equity. Quantinuum received $100 million tied to hardware gates. The first tranche of $56 million releases immediately. The next $32 million unlocks only after fabricating and testing integrated optical waveguides, optimized for 422 nanometer performance. And the final $12 million requires building a custom ASIC chip purpose-built for trapped ion quantum systems. This is not spray and pray funding. This is milestone-gated equity, just like a Series B term sheet. And then there is energy, because none of this infrastructure works without power. Westinghouse is a fascinating case. The Department of Commerce secured a warrant for 20% of the public value above $17.5 billion, with the ability to force an IPO by January 2029 if the valuation exceeds $30 billion. The Department of Energy issued a conditional loan commitment of up to $17.5 billion for nuclear supply chain infrastructure. The government is ensuring that the power grid can handle the load of domestic chip fabs, quantum foundries, and the AI data centers that will use them. So step back and look at the full picture. Critical minerals for hardware, semiconductor fabs for chips, quantum foundries for next-generation compute, nuclear energy for power. The government is not just investing in individual companies. They are building an entire technology stack from the ground up, and they are using equity ownership to steer every layer. When you deploy your next AI model, the GPU it runs on may come from an Intel fab the government co-owns. The rare earth magnets in the server's cooling system may come from an MP Materials mine the government has an offtake agreement with. And the electricity powering the data center may come from a Westinghouse reactor the government has a profit-sharing stake in. This is the new reality. The United States government is a venture capitalist, and their portfolio is the infrastructure stack that everything you build will run on. $47 billion, 66 companies, and counting. If you are building with AI, this is not optional reading. This is your supply chain. Follow the capital.